Before we talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of this night run that just happened, I want to show you guys the new spare tire straps that finally came in. We are back with a new batch of custom limited edition Desert Dyme spare tire straps from Alpine Off-Road. The designs we have this time around are the TRD Heritage stripes right here for all the Toyota boys. And if TRD stripes aren't your thing, we have my personal favorite, the Desert Digital Camo right here. This is so badass. Now what's different this time around is I did not only just order Y straps, I also got single straps for the boys that are running standing spares. So if you guys need a high quality spare tire strap for your truck, you guys know I already got you covered. And I have to say one more time, these are limited edition. Once these sell out, I am not bringing these designs back. I will be moving on to 2 new designs. So go ahead over to shopdesertdyme.com and grab them while they are still here. Also on the website, we have the 2 t-shirts. Right here, we have the Desert Dyme t-shirt where we got Desert Dyme written with the cactuses in the desert. And on the back, we have the actual Desert Dyme. And over here, we have the OG logo t-shirt right here. Ooh, bam. There we go. So I urge you guys to head over to shopdesertdyme.com, check out the merchandise, check out the spare tire straps. That being said, let's get into the video. You know, boys, life's all about balance. You know, it's not that I want to be popping a cold yellow jacket right now, but I wanted to show off the Baja Designs koozie given the topic of the video, and I'm hoping that they'll see this, and I'm hoping that they'll see all the attention that the night run got, and I'm hoping that they'll hop on board with us to do something cool for the next one. So that's why I did this. Also, shout out Baja Designs for making the coolest koozie ever, because it's a magnetic koozie, and I really want to make a batch of Desert Dyme magnetic koozies because you have no idea how helpful those are in the middle of the desert. All right, now that I'm done trying to get some cool companies to join us for the next event, let's go over the good, the bad, and the ugly of the one we just had last week. Now, as you guys know, this is my first time ever hosting / co-hosting an event for the public to join, and I just want to go over and I wanted to get some feedback from the people that attended and see how you guys liked it, what you liked, what you didn't like. So that's why I say we're gonna go over the good, the bad, and the ugly of the night run that just happened. Now on the night run itself and the day after, I had heard some general feedback from people and I got a lot of the same feedback, but I wanted to dig deeper, so I posted some polls, posted some open-ended questions for you guys to respond to on my Instagram story so we can further dive in and find out how can we improve. So I'm gonna go ahead and sprinkle some of that general stuff I heard into the detailed stuff as we go through this video. Now the first thing I wanted to figure out was just the overall, how did the people that attended feel about the event? I did the sliding scale, you know, 1 to 10. Out of 87 people that voted on that sliding scale of how did you like the event, we got roughly about a 9 out of 10 for the event. That's amazing. That's a really good number. A 9 out of 10 for the first event that I've ever hosted / co-hosted. And to even bump that 9 out of 10 up a little more, I'd say maybe a 9.3 out of 10 because like 3 or 4 people that didn't even attend the event voted 0 on it. So I don't know if we have haters. I don't know if they thought they were funny. Either way, with those outlier votes in there, we still got a 9 out of 10 for the event, so you guys liked it. Moving on to the next poll that I posted, I said, was the 22-mile course long enough? Now, this is a question I had after I had already mapped it out, saw that it was 22 miles. I started thinking, is this gonna be long enough for people to justify having driven all the way out to the desert for it? You know, you're driving, me, myself, I'm driving about an hour, 15 minutes just to get to the starting point of this trail run. And then that's just one way, you gotta drive all the way back. So I'm thinking, was 22 miles enough? Out of the 96 people that voted on this, 26 people said that it was too short, 64 people voted that it was the perfect length, and 6 people voted that it was too long of a course. In what world is 22 miles too long of a course for you, buddy? Come on. We're out here to party, we're out here to off-road. And again, all these different things that I've posted and people voted on, there are a few people that didn't even attend that voted on these, so I don't know what that's about. But yeah, personally, I felt like it might have been slightly too short, nothing crazy. Like I feel like, yeah, it was a good amount, but I feel like it wouldn't hurt to add on maybe 5 to 10 more miles to the course. You know, just add that a little bit more on to like really solidify and make it worth it. But yeah, I don't know if I would want to make the course any shorter. I think I asked some people that were able to run from point A to point B without stopping, and they said it was roughly, I think like 40 minutes, a 40-minute run, 30 to 40 minutes, somewhere in there. So I would not want to shorten it anymore. But it's good to know that a majority of the people thought that the run was the good length and they didn't feel gypped on this first run. The next poll I posted is I wanted to gauge how people thought the terrain overall was. I know Barstow, in comparison to other deserts like Johnson Valley or Ocotillo, is known for being a very harsh, very rough, unforgiving desert. So I was a little concerned that people might find it too rough. And alongside that, if you guys watched any of the content leading up to the night run, you will know that I was battling with the fact that we have different ends of the spectrum of builds showing up to this event. We have mid-travel builds all the way to caged, long travel, race truck kind of builds, and everything in between. So I was really battling when trying to map out this course, thinking I need to make this fun for everybody. I don't want the big guys to feel like they came out for nothing because it was too flat. And I don't want the less built guys to be like, this is way too harsh to where I'm not having fun anymore and I'm just crawling everything at 10 or 15 miles per hour, you know? So I wanted to gauge, ask them, how did you think the terrain was? Out of 97 votes, 12 people said that it was too rough and too challenging. 74 people said that it was a great mix and really fun. And 11 people said that it wasn't rough or challenging enough. You guys are my kind of people. You like to party. You like to party. So again, I was really relieved to find out that a majority, 74 out of 97 votes, 76% of the people that attended thought that it was a perfect mixture of, you know, like they didn't waste their time. They came out, they had a good time. It was a fun course. And that is probably one of the bigger things I was worried about. So I'm glad that the majority had fun with the course itself. All right, with the quick light polls out of the way, now it comes to the open-ended questions and where we start to dive into what some of the problems were that night and how we can improve. The first open-ended question I posed was, what did you love most about the event? I want to see what people liked. I want to see what I did good on and what I can bring into the next event and into future events. Now, I kind of just read through all the answers and got the average answers. Sure, there might be like one or two like random one-off answers, but for the majority, these are what we picked up. And these are in no particular order either. Number one, it was just simply being with the community and meeting a bunch of new people that you don't know in the off-road world yet, but you were glad to meet there. When I came over that hill and I was 30 minutes late to the pre-meet and I saw this sea of off-road vehicles, I was super stoked to see that it wasn't just everybody kind of standing by their own truck or with their own friend group. Like literally everybody was just mixing and mingling, talking to each other, checking out each other's builds, and that was one of the coolest things to see. As we all know, it's a small, tight-knit community, so it's great to get to know everybody. Two, this is how you learn and how you grow in the community as far as knowledge, as far as networking and everything, is just getting out there and meeting these new people that you might not necessarily see through social media. So that was one big thing that everybody, almost every single answer to this question had, was we just loved being out there and meeting all of these new people that share the same passion as us. A close second, which kind of ties in with the first one, is seeing all of the cool trucks and the diversity of builds. That was something I was surprised about, is that people were excited to see the diversity of builds there because, I don't know, I for some reason think that people only kind of like builds similar to theirs or similar to what they like. But it was really cool to see that everybody was sort of, you know, they had that respect for everybody else that was coming out and respect for their builds. Whether it was a long travel guy looking at somebody with just a mid-travel build or vice versa, you know, everybody just loved seeing the diversity there. It wasn't all one maker model. It wasn't all Ford Raptors. It wasn't all Silverados. It wasn't all long travel. It wasn't all one thing or the other. You know, people just love that diversity and it gives them ideas for their builds too. And the third answer we had that was very common amongst all these answers was that people were just stoked to be out there off-roading. That was one of the driving forces behind this event, is that it's summertime, people are itching to get to the desert and off-road, and not a lot of events were being hosted at the time. So I thought, we got to do something. We got to get the boys out there. And we did it, and everybody loved the fact that they were able to get out. You know, it's been months since we've been in the desert because it's scorching hot out there. And everybody was just stoked to be able to off-road and especially shake down their trucks before the season started. That's not something that showed up in the answers here on my phone, but it's something I heard a lot throughout the night, and the feedback after the event was that everybody was using this event sort of as a pre-season shakedown. You know, get the truck out there, test out all the work you've been doing over the past few months and see what still needs work, what's good, what needs fixing, X, Y, and Z. Altogether, what people loved the most was just what this event was aiming to do. Bring out the community, bring out a wide range of people and builds, and just get us all off-roading. You know, that's what we're here to do. Alrighty, now the next few questions is where we're really gonna start to get into the thick of it and start to dissect a lot of the problems people had with the night run and things that we need to fix in the future. The next open-ended question I had asked was, what did you like least about the event? Now again, I pulled sort of the general consensus from these answers, and here are the three most common answers that we had got. First of which was a few things worded different ways, which is people getting lost, the course mapping not being good enough, and there not being, you know, sort of like markers at certain turning points physically there for people to see. So we got to dissect this a few different ways. Now, I don't know how to go about answering this and not sounding like an a-hole, but I dialed that map in to a T. I zoomed in to each individual trail and laid the course over it. So I know that the onX map was perfectly dialed in. So I'm not sure what caused people to get lost or blame the course map. It could be a few different things. It could be the fact that you're off-roading at a decent rate of speed, and if you don't have somebody reading it and giving call-outs to you, you can, you know, sort of miss a turn or something of that nature. Or if for some reason the map wasn't working properly and you didn't have the dot following the map, you didn't have your location following the map, there's a number of things that could have made this go wrong. I hope nobody's actually blaming me and the map I made, because I followed it at the night run because things look different during the day and during the night, so I wanted to make sure I was still on course. I followed it to a T and I was perfectly fine. It was exactly as I mapped out. But I do know a lot of people got lost, especially in the Quarry region. I sent off maybe 2/3 of the group before I jumped into the pack myself. I off-roaded and got up behind somebody coming into the quarry, and as I got in and I knew that there was a left turn coming up that we had to climb the ridge line and drop down the two spines, I saw the guy in front of me and the guy in front of him go straight. And I'm like, huh, that's weird. Maybe there's another way to get up the ridge line there and you still come out the same way. So I went the correct way. I watched them go the wrong way. And as soon as I got up on the ridge line and I looked down into the valley, I saw a row of headlights all going the wrong way. And what had happened is, instead of going up to the left and hugging the left, dropping down, hooking another left and getting into the desert, everybody went straight and was on the right side and dropped into what used to be a lake. I'll throw it up here somewhere, but I have a picture of me and Gian parked in front of what that used to be, and it was a full body of water. So everybody was stuck in this sort of wash of sorts. And from what I've heard from people who got stuck in it is, once you dropped into it, you were locked into that for maybe about a mile, because there was like a wall on this side that wouldn't allow you to get out. So you had to keep going through this wash until you finally got spit out and then turn around and backtrack. So I think that's going to play into our next point, which was people were saying that they did not like the amount of sand and razor chop that were on the course. Now, when people say that they were getting stuck in a wash and people were getting stuck in sand, I wasn't entirely sure if people were talking about that wash coming out of the quarry or if they were talking about the wash, like the Barstow wash leading up to Maine, like the final 4 miles of the course. And I couldn't wrap my head around how people were getting stuck in that wash, because it's like, yeah, it's gravelly rock. There is a way you could get stuck in it, but it's pretty difficult. I'm 2-wheel drive. I don't have lockers. I'm on 33s and I go through it fine. But then once I got back and started hearing more feedback from people, I think they were referring to that wash coming out of the quarry that everybody ended up in. I think that's where everybody was getting stuck, and referring to where the sand was, which is understandable because, like I said, it used to be a lake. It used to be a big body of water. So I would imagine it's fairly like sandy, soft, silty, kind of get stuck in terrain. Now, I obviously did not lead you guys in there. I did not intentionally put you into that sand. As far as things you didn't like, I'm not surprised you didn't like that, because I wouldn't like it either, and that's why I would not put you in that situation. So I'm sorry that the course markings were a little confusing in that area. In hindsight, I think to me it was just obvious to get up that specific ridge line, because I've done it so many times. If I could go back and do it again, I probably would just leave the quarry out completely and have the trail wrap around that quarry altogether. So yeah, sorry if you were one of the people that ended up in the wash. But I did hear from a couple people that they actually enjoyed getting stuck in that, not stuck, but enjoyed going into that wash, because they said getting lost was part of their adventure for the night, and something that they really enjoyed is like, it didn't go to plan, and that's what made it fun. That's what made it an adventure, and that's what makes it off-roading. So there's that. And back to the razor chop. If you watched my pre-run video, you will know that I intentionally changed lines to try to avoid razor chop that I found on the pre-run. I'm sorry that it happened. I can't really control how that stuff shakes out. That's just the desert. Barstow is constantly changing its terrain due to nature, due to other vehicles being out there. When I pre-ran it, I picked the path with the least amount of razor chop in it, because I hate it, everybody hates it, it's rough on the trucks, it's not fun for anybody. Yeah, Mother Nature did its thing, maybe other vehicles did its thing in that 2-week separation from when I pre-ran it to the night run. I did not intend for there to be that much razor chop, but I did notice on the night run there was a lot more than what I had initially saw. So sorry for that, it sucks, nature. And the third thing that I found out that people liked the least is the fact that there was no event at the end. It was just sort of anticlimactic toward the end. Again, if you watched any of the pre-planning videos, you'll know that I was aiming to have a jump session at the end of the night, but a lot of factors went into it not happening. One, as you guys know, Jason broke his arms. He wasn't out there able to help me. He was initially supposed to be in front of the pack leading the night run, so when he got down there, he could start to coordinate and stage everybody and get that going, because I knew I was going to be further back in the pack just due to my build. So yeah, there was nobody at the front of the pack to sort of facilitate the back end of the run. 2, I was trying to get down there as fast as I could, but once I saw this guy broken down, or this guy stuck, or somebody got lost back there, and I had to just start helping all these people, I ended up getting tied up just sort of like playing the dad of the group and staying back, helping those people that were stuck in the back of the course, because it's shitty. I don't want to leave people out in pitch blackness in the middle of nowhere in the dead of night. You know, I'm going to stay there and make sure that they're able to get out and get moving again. Imagine if it was you that got stuck and broken down and literally everybody left you, now you're alone out there. I didn't want to do that to anybody, so that's why I wasn't at the end to facilitate any sort of jump session or anything at the end. Beyond that, I wanted to get out there before the night run, maybe a day or two before, have somebody with a built truck session some of the different jumps out there to find where a good jump actually is for them to hit, because I thought that main one was a little rounded out and it might not be a jump. Wasn't able to do that because, again, just with having to restructure everything with Jason getting in his accident, it was sort of the last thing on my mind. You know, if it happened great, but there were a lot of things that were out of my control. I don't have a built enough truck to go out and session the jumps myself. I wasn't able to be at the front of the pack when it ended to sort of facilitate any of that. So just know that the thought was there. I did want to have something at the end, but as the planning shook out, it just didn't allow for it. And that's also why I encouraged everybody to bring firewood so we could at least do a bonfire at the end. But I sort of left that up to you guys. You know, I couldn't bring out all the firewood. I just couldn't. So I sort of left it up to you guys. If you guys bring out firewood, we could have a bonfire at the end. Nobody brought out firewood, so yeah, that's the list of things that people did not necessarily like about the night run. Just know a lot of the stuff you guys didn't like about it, I really did try to prevent on the front end, but you can't plan everything perfectly to a T. I'll work better at it next time, I really will, because nobody likes sand, nobody likes razor chop. I don't want anybody getting super lost and going into bad sections, and I did want something to happen at the end, but you know, like I said, it's a lot going on. One thing I did leave out of that, what people didn't like, was course markings, like physically having like arrows on the course to show people where to go, and that's gonna lead us into our next section. The next question I posted on my story was, what would you guys like to see at the next night run? And I got a huge list here of things that we'll just try to quickly go over. Course markings. Like I said, having a physical sign somewhere on the course to show that you're still on the right course, or you need to turn here and go this way at this point, was something I definitely thought of leading up to the event. I thought it would be a really good idea, especially with some of those hard like hairpin turns or hard 90-degree turns on a trail. I thought, you know, it's probably best to have course markers out here showing this is where you turn. But a few things stopped me from doing that. One, I had the mapped out Onyx course and I thought, okay, this is like probably the best tool you could use to not get lost. Two, if I put all those signs out there, at the end of the night, I'm gonna have to go back and make sure I grab every single one of those signs so I'm not polluting the desert. And some of you might say, just leave them out there, who cares? I'm posting all of this on social media with a lot of attention on it, so people are gonna know that it's my stuff that's out there and I don't wanna get in trouble for polluting the desert. And three, like a lot of different things that fell through the cracks, it just came down to a lack of time. You know, there was a lot to plan, a lot leading up to it, and I just simply did not have the time to get out there beforehand, pre-run the course and just put in all these different signs, let alone make the signs. You know, it's a lot of planning that goes into it. Maybe next time, if we have more time leading up to it, I'll try to get some course markers out there, and hopefully it's a trip where we're staying overnight so I can go pick those up later and not have to worry about I have to drive 2 hours back home still, you know? So yes, course markings, I will definitely try to make that happen for the next one. Another common thing, trucks jumping at the end. Like I said, I really wanted that to happen. It was just ran out of time and didn't have enough time or resources to plan it. Again, next time, we're definitely gonna make it happen, boys. We wanna see trucks jumping at the end. We wanna have a good time. We wanna see people get rowdy. A unique response that I did not think about is somebody said that they want participation stickers or special limited edition event merch at these events. And I think that's pretty cool. Having like a specialty sticker for like Desert Dime Down for Mobbing Desert Run Volume 2 or something like that, or Volume 3 or Volume 4 for whatever event we're having. I think that'd be pretty sick. Have like a specialty sticker for each event that the people that show up can have. I think that'd be cool. Or having like specialty t-shirts like Volume 2 Desert Run or something like that with like a sick truck on it at the location that we're doing it at. That's a pretty good idea, so thank you to whoever shouted that one out. Another thing people want to see at the next event is rescue vehicles. This is a huge one. Again, this is something else that I wanted to try to plan beforehand, but there were just so many things going on. I just did not have the bandwidth or the capacity to try to figure this out, is having like vehicles at the very end of the pack sort of doing a sweep across the course. So if anybody's broken down, they'll come across them, help them get out, so I don't have to stop and spend 2 hours helping all these different people. We did have somebody who volunteered this past time around, and shout out to him. Thank you so much for doing that. I didn't even ask him. I didn't know the guy. He just came up to me and said, hey, I'm gonna be rescue. I'm gonna be trailing everybody. I'm gonna be on this channel, so if anybody breaks down, radio me. But what happened is, once I was already in the mix of helping a bunch of different people and I was traveling from one broken down group to another stuck group, I radioed him and said, hey, how's it going? Where you at? Are you helping somebody? And he said, yeah, I'm helping somebody right now, but I just lost my 4-wheel drive. My 4-wheel drive just went out. So he packed it up after getting that person unstuck and headed back home because that was his daily driver. He didn't want to break it any more than it already was. So he bailed out maybe around mile marker 5. So we lost our rescue, but that's something I definitely would want to figure out for the next run. So again, I or whoever else I'm co-hosting with isn't going to have to stop to help all these people. I definitely do want to find rescue vehicles to sweep up the course. Somebody said, we want to see media crew at the next event. Guys, as a media guy myself, I wanted so bad to get amazing media coverage of this event. But one, if you do media, you know how insanely hard it is to film at night in the middle of the desert where it's pitch black with low lighting. So that was a problem we were trying to face. 2, GoPros just suck at catching stuff. So I would want physical media guys in different vehicles, which is what I set up for this night run. But one of the media guys was in the white Raptor that broke down on mile marker 7. So he ended up playing mechanic the rest of the night and not able to film anything. Another one of my media guys just completely bailed on the night run altogether, didn't come. And then there was Brazy, the homeboy who stuck it out, was out there filming, but he was in the back of the pack filming the different groups that were broken down or stuck, which is good content, but I also would have wanted more content of the guys up front, the really built guys, the guys whose trucks are just super nice and are just eating this desert course. Again, it comes down to 1, it was too dark, and 2, finding people that are willing to not be a part of the night run more so than get ahead of the group, post up and film people blowing by, get back in their vehicle, get ahead of the group, and then post up and film people blowing by. You know, you're not really going to be on the night run more so than filming the night run. It's more work than play, I guess, which is not something I really wanted to do to the media guys. I wanted them to enjoy the event too, because as media guys, we don't really get to enjoy events as much as you think because we're too busy filming them. That's something I do want to try to do better on and get more media guys out at the next event, because I do want the media coverage of these. I want those memories. I want the videos for you guys. Another big response is that people want the next one to be a daytime run. And going back to the whole media, it's too dark thing, I am in full support of doing a daytime run. One, so we can get better media coverage. Two, so I don't feel bad if people break down or get stuck, because you have all this daylight to get unstuck. So I definitely think the next run is going to be a daytime one. As sick as the night event is, it has its place, it has its time, but this next one, I want a daytime run. Somebody said secure trailer parking. My buddy, this is out of my hands. This is the open desert. I have absolutely no say of where you could park a trailer securely. It's an open desert. Find a common campground, maybe park with other people you know. I don't know how to help with that one. I don't know how to make the trailer parking secure. I had other people say do a different location. Yes, not because I didn't like Barstow, but because I do not want to repeat the same event over and over again. Much like my merchandise, whether it's spare tire straps, whether it's shirts, whether it's stickers, I want to constantly be bringing new stuff. I do not want to keep repeating old stuff. So I think for any future event I'm doing, I'm never going to be doing back-to-back the same location. I'm sure I'll go back to it eventually, maybe 4 or 5 events later, but I definitely want to keep doing a new spot each time. And even if I am repeating the same spot, I'm doing a new course, you know? So yeah, the next one's definitely going to be at a new location. I have a lot of guys saying do Ocotillo, so might be Ocotillo for the next one, boys. People saying cool endings. Yes, this goes back to the truck jumping. I want something cool at the end. I want a destination for us to get to. I want there to be something other than the night run as well. I want the night run to be a big component of it, but I also want the ending to be a big component as well. So yes, a cool ending would be sick, whether it be, I think I still want to do just a truck jump session with a bonfire. So people can watch trucks jump, people could hang around the campfire, talk to each other about their builds, talk to them about their experiences throughout the night, how it went for them, catch up with old friends, meet new people, stuff like that. Somebody said do different groups with different people leading each group. I don't want to do that, and I'll tell you why. This event is to bring the community out and get everybody together. So I think it kind of defeats that purpose if we're separating everybody. I'm assuming you mean with like mid-travel guys in one group and long travel guys in another group and fully built race truck, cage trucks in another group. That defeats the purpose. Sure, you could argue it's going to make it more fun because you're running with people in your own class, but it defeats the purpose of like not everybody getting to share the same course, not everybody getting to see other builds run the course. But I will continue to do kind of ranking everybody, putting the faster guys, more built guys up front, and kind of tapering all the way back to the least built guys going last. So some people said do different courses, like in one run doing multiple courses on the same event, which there's a few ways to think that through and do it, and I love every possibility of that. I had an idea of doing a multi-day event where there's a new course each day. I had the idea of doing a course where it's a full loop, and then once you complete that loop, it goes off into an A to B. So if you wanted to do the first half, do the loop, and then, you know, kind of stop where we started, then you could do that. And then if you wanted to keep going on the rest of the course from the A to B, then you could do that. There are just so many options with this whole different courses thing that I absolutely love, and I'm gonna toy around with in my mind. Now, the last thing somebody said that they want to see at the next event is stopping points. So I know I talked about doing that for this past night run of having like, okay, we'll go like X amount of miles, stop at this location like the rock quarry, hang out there for a little bit, and then continue on the run. The only problem I had with doing that with this night run is going back to, I don't think the course was long enough to do it. It was only 22 miles, so I feared that if we added a stop or 2 or 3, however many, it was gonna chop up the flow of the night run course, you know? Like you'll start driving, you'll get in the groove, you'll get that adrenaline hitting you, and you're just gonna be loving the off-roading, and it's like, oh, we're stopping. Then you get out and you're just like, I wanna keep going, you know? And then you get back in, you get back in the groove, you get the adrenaline going, then it's like, oh, we're stopping again, you know? So that's the only reason why I didn't wanna do stopping points on this night run specifically. And also for the fact that it was so late at night, people had to drive back home after. It was just gonna make the event way too long. So Again, if it's during season and people are camping out overnight, it makes it so much more easier. It opens up so many more possibilities. So yes, I would like to add stopping points, but I would want a longer course for that and more points of interest. In this night run, there weren't like points of interest really, it was just desert. So good idea, I'll keep it in mind. We're gonna add it to the next one. Now this brings us to the last question I posted, which was final thoughts. Any miscellaneous things you guys wanted to say and let me know about the night run, about anything in general about the event. I sort of handpicked the unique answers for this one. A lot of them were just thank you, it was a great event, I had a great time, but these are the ones that stood out to me. Somebody said a lot of people were treating it as a race and were just kind of zooming off. I'd like to see the group stick together the whole way through. I'm actually gonna protest this. I think it's more fun when people are just flying, you know? People are enjoying their build, they're pushing it to the limits, they're getting to let the truck eat, they're testing out their skills, they're enjoying the course and they're enjoying off-roading. I think it would be a crime to make these fully cage built truck guys stick together with the group when you have mid-travel builds in the back. You know, they're not gonna have fun at all. They're not gonna enjoy it. I think it's better to let people drive to their abilities the way they wanna drive their truck. And I think what can combat this is having those stopping points, you know, have like every 7-10 miles a stopping point. People can push it, you know, eat their truck if they want. Some people could take it slower, stay with their group if they want. But then we all meet up at this point, regroup. Okay, now go back out till the next point. I think that's what can help that. Somebody said essentially have a chase truck, one with spare parts, spare tools, essentially like a recovery truck, which isn't a bad idea to have like very common things that could break on vehicles in one truck that's sweeping the course. They said like fuses. That was the problem with the white Raptor that broke down at mile marker 7. It was just a fuse. So if we could have a chase truck that's sweeping up the course, helping people get unstuck, and they have parts to hopefully fix somebody that broke, that would be perfect. Again, I'm really gonna try to work on having that for the next event. The third thing is something that I had questioned myself leading up to the night run was require chase lights for the next one. That's a tough one. I don't want to discourage people from not coming out. I don't want to exclude anybody. I think if I give enough heads up, it's fair to say you need chase lights. You have a month and a half, you have 2 months to get chase lights for your vehicle. Sure, we can make those required. But I don't know if it was a problem for this night run. If anybody could leave in the comments, if you were following somebody without chase lights, how bad of a problem was it? And the overall final thoughts I got from everybody was have another one very soon. We had a lot of fun. That is like the greatest thing I heard from the entire night run was how stoked everybody was on the event. I am a worrywart. I am an over planner. I stress a lot, and I was super stressed about this event. I was stressed not enough people were going to show up. I was stressed that it wasn't going to be fun enough. I was stressed people were going to not have a good time, you know, but the feedback I got from it was all super positive, and I thank you guys for that. It made me feel a lot more confident about my event planning abilities, about the event itself, and it's really pushing me to host/co-host another one, guys. So I know this is probably a super long video, but I wanted to get all these different thoughts out for the people that care to watch it. If you guys have any other things you want to say about the night run, any other suggestions, any other feedback you want to give about it, please leave it in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you guys. Stay tuned for the next one. It should hopefully be coming sooner rather than later. I'll catch you guys in the next one.
Welcome to my party, we're just getting started. A life is a dream.